Hi class, we meet again today to discuss about the forms of verb. So actually the verb is the most complicated part of the sentence and you have to consider lots of things before you choose the right answer for the verb. Therefore, in this explanation, I want you to go to your most comfortable corner and find the most comfortable position and prepare your notebook, or if you want to go paperless, you can prepare your smartphone to take notes of anything important from this video, and don't forget to grab a drink, coffee or tea to keep you awake during this explanation. Right, so these are the things that we learned from this video. The basic forms of the verb is what we first discussed, and also we continue with the verb forms after have or has, and also the verb forms after be. First things first, the basic forms of verbs. The verb is used to express the action, being or state of being the subject. Look at this sentence. Charlie visits the chocolate factory every week. You see, the verb is used to express the action that is done by the subject. Look, this Charlie is the subject and visit is the verb. So the verb explain that Charlie does this. Explain the verb the activity. The verb explain the activity that Charlie does. And it follows the subject and it agrees in number with the subject. Remember, it follows the subject. Look, the verb comes after the subject and it agrees in numbers with the subject. If the subject is singular, then the verb is singular. Please remember what we have learned on the previous lessons about the subject-verb agreement. And if the subject is plural, you see, the verb is also plural. That's what it means by agrees in number with the subject. And the using of verbs also depends on the time. What does it mean? Look, they visited the chocolate factory yesterday. The word yesterday here marks that the action happened in the past. Therefore, instead of using visit, it used visited. It follows the time. It depends on the time. It changes when the time changes. It changed according to when it happened. And also, it can be single verb or verb phrase. The verb can be single verb like this one, just one word, or it can be a verb phrase that consisted of more than one word. Look, was visiting. You see, the word visited is a single verb, and this one, was visiting, consisted of two words. It means that this is a verb phrase. Okay, the verb can be a single word like visit or visited, or it can be a verb phrase like was visiting. And the next one, the verb forms depending on tenses. Tenses mean the time marker. Tenses or the time marker. So in English, the time is divided into three parts: the past, the present, and the future. And the verb is placed and the verb forms depends on the tenses. If it happens in the past, it uses particular form of verb. And it happens in the present, it use the particular form of the verb. And also when it comes in the future, when the action happens in the future, it also follows some rules. And it use the particular word, the particular verb. These are the formula. You can look at your book, or maybe you are familiar with this. And now I'm going to show you the examples. What does it mean by the forms depending on tenses? As like I said before, tenses is a time marker, and every time marker, the verb comes in particular forms. You see, there are several forms of tenses. The base form, the present form, present participle, past and past participle. You know this with the term verb 1, verb ing, verb 2, and verb 3. The present form is often called verb 1. And the verb ing, the one that you know, verb ing, is present participle. The verb 2 represent the past. And the past participle can also be called as verb 3. The base form of the verb is the verb without any suffixes. It's the verb without any suffix, without s, without ing, without ed, and so forth, and so on. So the base form is just the verb, like walk, just walk, dance, cook, sing, build, or begin. But the present form, or the verb 1, depends on the subject. The verb forms on present, or maybe in the verb 1, depends on the subject. Look, walk can be just walk or with s, depend on the subject. If the subject is singular, you need s as the suffix. And if the subject is plural, you can use the walk, s is not needed. You see, that's what I mean by depending on the subject. And some verb also some verb also ended with suffix ing. It's present participle. You know this when the sentence is in the progressive tense, or maybe in continuous tense, like walking, dancing, cooking, singing, building, and beginning. If the tenses is in past, or maybe if the event occurred in past, then you need to use the past form of the verb, or the verb 2, like walked, danced, cooked, sang, built, and began. And the past participle is called verb 3. It also comes in some ended with suffix ed, and some comes in a different form. You see, some verb ends in ed, but some verb change the form, like sang, sung, sing become sang and become sung, and the build become built and built, and began become began and begun. We can say this, the one that ends with ed is the regular verbs. The verb that change the form, change the letter, is called irregular verbs. There is no other way than to memorize it if you want to understand it. So, when to use which? Like I said before, tenses is a time marker. Therefore, if you want to know which one to use in some context, in a particular context, you need to find out when it happens. When the action happens. Imagine that this is a timeline, and at this point is this moment, exactly this moment. You have to guess, you have to think about it. You have to think that anything that happened before this moment passed is called the past, and anything that happened after this moment is called present. You have to distinguish whether the action happened in the past or present or future, baby. Whether it happens at this moment or not, or whether it already happened, or maybe it already finished. And if this one happens before, right now, before this moment, you have to use the past form. And if it happens after this moment, you need to use the present form. And you have to look, you have to find, and also you have to think whether the action happens regularly. like this one. Somebody dances in summer 2019, also in summer 2020, also in summer 2021, and also summer 2022. It means that this person does this every year. If it occurred every year, if it occurs every year, therefore you have to use the simple present. Laila dances in a famous ballet show every summer because it happens regularly. If it happens regularly, then you need to use the present form because it happens at this moment and in the future. You see, it happens. It still happens in some time after this moment. So you need to use the present form. That is the verb 1. Why verb 1? Because it's something that happens regularly. So you need to use the simple present. And simple present use verb 1. And look, in August 2020, and it's still in progress until the January 2021. Therefore, at this moment, this activity is still in progress. If this activity is still in progress, you need to use the present participle. Why present? Because it happens at this moment and still happened in the time after this moment. If it happens until the time after this moment, you have to use the present form. And since this is a progress, you need to use present participle. This sentence, this form, shows that the action is still in progress. This is how you use this. My grandfather is building a house. Is building. The verb ends with verb ing. And also, look, there is a situation, there is an event that occurred in summer 2018. If it happens in the past and finished in the past, you need to use the verb 2, the past form of the verb, the past form. We cooked some sunny side egg during the summer camp 2 years ago. And if that happens in the future, you see, Christmas 2021, it hasn't occurred yet, but it occurred after this moment, so it still need a present. You can use are singing the present participle. We learn about it in the next lesson. Alright, so now what do you have to notice is what comes before the verb. After you know when to use the verb, the another way to choose which verb that you need to use, you can look what comes before the verb. Okay, look, if have or has comes before the verb, like this one, have or has in any of its form, like have, has, having, or had, you have to be sure that verb that follows it in the past participle or verb 3. If you notice have, has, having, or had, and it's followed, and it follows with a verb, and it is followed by the verb, you have to make sure that the verb is in the past participle or in the verb 3 form. You see, they had walked to school, or they had walked to school. Which one is the correct one? After had, you have to make sure that the verb is in verb 3 form. Look at this sentence. This is not a verb 3. This is not the verb 3. Which one? This one is verb 3. Therefore, the correct one is this one. This can't do. Another example. We have seen the show and we have seen the show. Look, after have, you need a verb 3. But this one is not a verb 3. Therefore, this one is incorrect and this one is the correct one. Had taken, we had took the test. Another example. This is not the verb 3, it's verb 2. So it's wrong and you have to make sure that after had is a verb 3. Taken. Having eaten, he went to school. Having ate, he went to school. See, after having, you have to make sure that this one, the verb is verb 3. So this one is the correct one, incorrect one. She should have done the work. She should have does the work. You see, after have, it should be the verb 3, not the verb 1. This one is the wrong one. And also, if you see a subject and a past participle, you have to make sure that the sentence have the verb have or has or having or had. My friend sung in the choir. You see, after the subject, there is a verb 3. It just can't do because the verb 3 needs to be paired with have or had or has or having. You see, therefore this one is incorrect. You need to add had or has or have or having. Depends on the time. And this one, he become angry at his friend. Become can be verb 3 or can be verb 1. But look, become here does not contain s, which indicate the verb 1. So become here should be verb 3. But there is no have or has here. So this one is not correct. And this one is the correct one. He has become angry. And also this one, there is no have or has or had or having. So this is the wrong one. And this is the correct one. Remember, if you find a subject and a verb 3, there should be have, has, had, or having between them. And also, this one is the verb forms after be. Be or to be comes in several forms such as am, is, are, was, were, be, been, or being. Therefore, if you see any of this, make sure that the verb follows it in the form of present participle, verb ing, or in past participle, verb 3. It has to be verb ing or verb 3 after be in any form. We are due our homework. Is it okay? No, of course, because after are, it should be verb 2. It should be verb ing or verb 3, but this one is verb 1. It's the base form of the verb. Therefore, it's just incorrect, and this one is the correct one. After be, you need to put if after be you need to put verb ing or verb 3, but verb ing is okay. It depends on the tense. The homework was due early. You see, after be, you have to use done. It has to be after be, it has to be verb 3 or verb ing, but this one is verb 1, so this one is incorrect. This is the correct one. And Tom is take the book. It's also incorrect one because after be, it should be verb 3 or verb ing. The book was take by Tom. Also, this one is incorrect. After be, it should be verb 3. This one is the correct one. The book was taken by Tom. Now, we discuss about potential problems with verbs in a LPT. Sometimes in a LPT, the verb may be omitted in the sentence. The students will complete the essay by the end of the class. After will, it should be the verb 1, but this one is verb 2 or maybe. So this is just wrong. We have something to be added here. We need something to be added here. And this one is have. So the first thing that you need to check is whether the verb is complete. whether the verb is complete and it comes in pair if it is needed, just like this one, or maybe it comes in the correct pair. There may be an additional unnecessary auxiliary form of the verb. The students did completed the essay. This is incorrect because completed has already represent something that happens in the past. Therefore, the word did is not needed. Verbs may be in the wrong tense. I'm going to eat as soon as the cafeteria will open. Okay, this one is something that is scheduled. The cafeteria, the opening of the cafeteria is scheduled, right? Therefore, using will open is incorrect. Because if it is scheduled, it means that it happened regularly. So if it is if it happens regularly, then you need to use the present tense, not the future one. It comes in the present tense. So the correct answer will be opens, not will open. And now, the other potential problems with ELPT. Look at this sample of question. The military academy at West Bank Point on the west bank of the blah 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 on the west bank of the Hudson River north of New York City. This way, the first thing that you need to check is to find what is needed in this sentence. Check if the subject exists. The military academy at West Point, blah blah blah, on the river west bank, on the west bank of the Hudson River, north of the New York City. Okay, so we have the subject here, and we have a complement here, but there is no subject. Sorry, there is no predicate. This is the missing predicate. So if it is the missing predicate, then we need a verb or a verb phrase. Remember, we need a verb or a verb phrase. Now look at the choices. A, B, C, D. All the choices contain a verb. Look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it. But look, this two has pronoun in it. Which and whose. We only need a predicate. We only need a verb or a verb phrase. So pronoun is not needed. Therefore, C and D is incorrect. That must be the wrong choice. Therefore, it left us with two choices. Look at it and is look at it. Which one is correct? In this sentence, look at it is a verb, but it makes the sentence an active voice. It means that the subject does the action. The military academy at West Point is an inanimate thing, right? Inanimate object, so it cannot do actions on its own. Therefore, using an active voice is kind of wrong. So you need to use a passive voice. This one is the passive voice. After B, you have verb 3. What is passive voice? Well, I'm going to explain it in the next video. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Another sample. The North Pole, blah blah blah, a latitude of 19 degrees north. Same with the previous question, you have to check what is needed in this sentence. The North Pole, blah blah blah, a latitude of 19 degrees north. Okay, this sentence has a subject, the North Pole, and this sentence also has a complement. Therefore, what is lacking in this sentence is a predicate. Since it needs a predicate, we need a verb or a verb phrase. This two has pronoun in it, which and it. Therefore, these two are the incorrect choices. And we have has or is having. Now, which one is the best one? We need to check what is the tense for this sentence. The North Pole, blah blah blah, a latitude of degrees north is a fact. Therefore, since it is a fact, we need a predicate that form a simple present tense. Since it is a fact, we need a predicate that make us simple present tense in this sentence. Is having is a verb phrase, but it makes the sentence in present continuous tense. It creates something, it gives impression that something is still in progress. Meanwhile, this sentence is not a progress. This one shows a fact. And A, the choice A is a verb and it makes the sentence in simple present, just like what a fact needed. Therefore, the answer is A. Okay, so that's all the explanation about the forms of the verb. For the more detailed information, you can check on your book, your module, and I see you again in the next explanation. Bye!